Welcome to Twin Talk. This is Joy, and I'm here with my sister Angie. And today we're going to be talking about the book Sea Stories by Admiral William H. McRaven. This was on our high school's teen read list, and I listened to it on our school's app. It's called Sora, Sora, but I'm sure it's available on Audible as well. The basic info and summary is that it was published in May of 2019. It's 352 pages long, and on the Sora app it was 10 hours and 14 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and Angie read a summary of the book.
So following the success of his #1 New York Times bestseller, Make Your Bed, which has sold over 1 million copies, Admiral William H. McRaven is back with amazing stories of bravery and heroism during his career as a Navy SEAL and commander of America's Special Operation Forces.
Admiral William H. McRaven is a part of American military history, having been involved in some of the most famous missions in recent memory, including the capture of Saddam Hussein, the rescue of Captain Richard Phillips, and the raid to kill Osama bin Laden.
Nice. So Sea Stories begins in 1963 at a French officers' club in France, where Allied officers and their wives gathered to have drinks and tell stories about their adventures during World War II, the place where a young Bill McRaven learned the value of a good story. Sea Stories is an unforgettable look back on one man's incredible life, from childhood days sneaking into high-security military sites to a day job of hunting terrorists and rescuing hostages.
It's action-packed, humorous, and full of valuable life lessons like those exemplified in McRaven's best-selling Make Your Bed. Sea Stories is a remarkable memoir from one of America's most accomplished leaders. So have you ever heard of Admiral William H. McRaven?
No, I don't guess I have.
And have you ever, you've never heard of him, but have you heard of the book Make Your Bed?
I do think I've heard of that. Is it kind of on the basis if you'll just make your bed and like there's certain small habits that start your day, it sets your kind of like a lifetime of good habits?
Yes. So I don't remember why, but all of our seniors at the high school and all the teachers were given a copy of this book, and I finally sat down and read it one day. It was good, and I think you hit on it. The general gist is just as soon as you get up, make your bed, and you already have a feeling, it helps you get in a routine.
You've already accomplished something.
You've already felt a sense of accomplishment for that day. That's the #1 thing, and that leads to better habits and better routines, and it can just get your day started off on the right foot. So yeah, it was a helpful book. So I just found this fascinating, this book, Sea Stories. I felt like he's like the modern day Forrest Gump. You know how Forrest Gump was just always at the most historical places at the right time? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's how this guy was. It's like he was in all these major, significant historical events. It says he was involved in some of the most famous military missions in recent memory. Okay, let's just start off, Saddam Hussein. I mean, unless you've been hiding under a rock, if you're our age, you know who Saddam Hussein was. Osama bin Laden. Have you seen the movie with Tom Hanks about the rescue of Captain Richard Phillips?
No, but I've heard a lot of people have said it's really good.
I thought it was really good. I've always been fascinated with Navy SEALs. Mm-hmm. I've read several books on them, and I don't know if you have too, but didn't we do Fearless with the guy from Arkansas? Did we do it?
We talked about doing it, but we did the other one with the sniper that was killed
from Texas.
From Texas, I cannot
Chris
think of that.
Something.
Yeah, but what was the name of the book?
Oh my gosh, American Sniper.
Yeah.
So I've always been fascinated. I've read several books over Navy SEALs. And I've always been fascinated with how, oh my God, mentally and physically tough they are. But I saw a documentary on it too, but when you realize that they're on a moving boat and trying to shoot at these terrorists, these, what they call the ones on the water that hijack boats, pirates.
Pirates.
And they're trying to put their sights from their guns on a moving boat. The fact that they took these guys out is beyond. I can't even come up with words
a lot
for
of
it.
training and precision.
Yes,
very high
it's
precision.
Just the fact that they did it was amazing. But so if you listen to the book, it's in his voice. Of course, he has a very authoritative, commanding, you could tell he's like a high-profile guy. But I love it because it's like you're behind the scenes. He takes you behind the planning and what all was involved in capturing these guys, and then he takes you through the operations and how it works and all that. And to me, it's just super interesting to get to hear the behind the scenes details of how these guys were captured or killed. So one thing I failed to say is Angie has not read this book yet, and I have. And I just wanted to highly recommend it to her and to our readers. To me, he seems like a man of honor and integrity. You know, like, I believe what he says. I know a lot of people out there who are conspiracy theorists don't believe that we actually killed Osama bin Laden. Like, where's the body? Why'd they bury him at sea? And same thing with Saddam Hussein. They don't believe that we actually killed him. But I believe it. So after having read the summary, does this sound like something you might want to read one day?
Oh yeah, definitely, because I love to watch like you said, I love documentaries about Navy SEALs and to hear about their lives. And if you can actually go hear a story firsthand from someone who was there, I think would be very interesting.
Okay, and I sent her a picture of the cover of the book. It kind of looks like maybe they're on the back of whoever took the pictures, like maybe on the back of a big battleship or a boat. And it's a really dark, choppy sea, maybe at dusk, like it's about to turn night. And I've always been fascinated by the sea. Of course, we live in a landlocked state. I've only been to the ocean a few times. But the few times I've been on a cruise ship or a boat, I could just sit and just watch the water for hours. It's just fascinating to me. And I was going to ask her about what she thought about the book cover, but it's really kind of hard to get
honestly,
sense of it.
The very first thing that came to my mind when you talked about being on a cruise, so when Corby and I went on the cruise, and it'd be nighttime, we'd be looking out over the ocean, and I got to tell you, there's a kind of a sense of fear when I look at the sea and the ocean, because I know how powerful and how dangerous it can be. And so I always associate Navy SEALs with the sea and the ocean, and that's one reason I have so much admiration for them, because something that seems terrifying to me, like to actually be out at night in a rough sea, maybe in bad stormy weather, but they go into it, with eyes wide open, and I'm just amazed that people can be that way, because I know I'm not that way.
I think you just said what I was feeling. It's just, the sea is terrifying and majestic and beautiful and awe-inspiring all at once, and I want to look at it, but I don't want to go in it.
Like, we're on a cruise ship, and these guys are literally out in these amphibious, whatever they call them, boats, and they're out there in the waves, and sometimes then they're in the water,
in the cold.
They're facing not only threats from the enemy, but threats from nature as well. Sharks, and I've read lots of stories where they had encounter with sharks and training and all this stuff. So.
Yeah, I've always just had almost hold Navy SEALs like legendary status. If someone tells me someone made it through the program, through buds and through all that, and they're an actual Navy SEAL, they already have my respect right there. I feel like they're half crazy half the time.
I was going to say they're definitely a different breed, and I know they only look for certain types of personalities.
Well, since Angie hasn't read the book, I can't ask her how many Navy SEALs she gives it, but I'm going to give it 4.5 Navy SEAls. Oh. I highly recommend the book, and if you're interested in military history at all, or the Navy SEALs, or the stories behind, like Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, the captain of the rescue of Captain Richard Phillips, I highly recommend this book. So, Angie, if you ever decide to read it, let me know, and we'll come back and we'll add on to this podcast and see what you thought.
That sounds good.
Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you next time on Twin Talk.